G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. For those that don't know me, my name is Kerry Corney. I'm a wood turner based in Brisbane, Australia. I've got a broad rim bowl, I've got a rolled edge bowl, and I've got what I like to call, and I think you could all agree, is like a sort of traditional shaped bowl. So I'm going to jump straight into it with the one that's in my hand, and this is a broad rimmed bowl. Working my way from the outside in and quickly, and then I'll talk about the exterior a little bit more. What I really like about a broad rim bowl, and this rim is probably say two thumb widths. I think we said last week that's about an inch, so about 2 inches wide in a rim, but then it's quite flat, but then it rolls into an undercut rim. Last week's video I mentioned where I had a softer edge on the rim, and I think you could agree as well, by looking at this bowl, it has more, it appears, and this is sort of the smoke and mirrors of what this undercut, what I believe, what it does, and what I love about these shapes. When it comes into this section just here, it's quite harsh. So as in the undercut rim is quite harsh. I really have to angle it back. And when I make that cut, the gouge, if I put the bevel on it, the gouge is out here. So hopefully that camera can pick that up. So that's how far out I have to get the gouge out to make an undercut rim there. But the beauty of it is it creates this sort of shadow line, in my opinion, around the edges of the bowl inside there. It creates like a little line, but in that undercut rim there, it creates an open belly, so it really sweeps around and then falls down to the floor, creating the illusion that it's quite deep, even though it's quite a shallow bowl. That's what I really like about when I make those undercut rims. It really swings into the bowl and then flows down like a really nice, continuous flowing curve all the way down to the bottom. And I really like that about the undercut rims and what it helps to create. Moving on to the back, and now this is what I guess you could call, it's not a traditional Roman ogee. It's not a Roman ogee curve where I'll put a photo of a sort of traditional Roman ogee curve of a bowl that I've made before. This bowl here is sort of like it's got that convex shape, so it swings out, but then it tucks in, so it goes convex and then concave. It swings back into the foot, so it's like a reverse ogee curve. But the beauty of that is when you're standing there naturally, and I mentioned this in a demonstration that I did at a festival once. When you're standing naturally, your hand hangs down quite relaxed, but your fingers, if you take note, they tuck in, unless you've lopped your finger off like me and now it's kind of a bit awkward. But anyway, I digress. When your hand latches around that little ogee underneath the bottom, or that convex curve under the bottom there, it just feels very natural. So you bring your hand around and it feels very natural, and my thumb automatically wants to grip in around that rim. My mind to body connection, or I forgot the name of that, but there's a medical term out there, I'll put it on the screen. It wants to latch on there, and then I know the bowl is secure in my hand. Moving down to the foot is quite simple on this bowl. It's 1/3, I'll go to this camera, it's 1/3 of the overall diameter, and that's how I get that foot shape. And I'll talk about a tool in a second that helped me at the beginning of my sort of turning, come up with different design shapes or different sort of rules of thumb of where to do things. So that shape there, that tenon, that foot there is 1/3 of the overall diameter, and it's concave in through to the bottom, so it sits nice and flat on the table, so it doesn't rock around. That's what we want. So that's that broad rim undercut there with a beautiful sweep curve down to the bottom of the floor of the bowl, with that little convex down around the foot, and your fingers just feel really nice in it. So that's a shape I really enjoy, and I hope that you can pick up on a few things, and you might want to try a couple of different shapes. There's so many shapes out there. I've just gathered all this sort of knowledge or things of just turning a lot, plus looking at other people's work, as well as looking at ceramics, or when you go out shopping. I don't know, it's a weird thing, I don't know why, but I like walking around in the silver, it's like a cutlery department or whatever, like walking around in that sort of department there, where they've all got all different shapes of bowls and platters and knives and forks in that area. To me, that gives me a lot of inspiration, and I'm always taking photos of different things and filming different things, and I incorporate that into my work. So that's how I come about different shapes and things. What I want to talk about next is the rolled rim bowl, and if you can, I'll get that camera there to focus on that rolled rim, and you can probably see, I'll get a flat bit of, you could probably see that rolled rim. It's quite rolled all the way down, but then I've done that undercut rim again, and it's quite harsh, that undercut rim, and it looks crisp. And whenever I'm out and about and I pick up other wood turners' work, I can always tell if they've done a really nice, clean, crisp cut, because if you've done that, you usually have to do less sanding, unless you're wanting to soften things. Then you can use your gouge or your tool, or you can use your sandpaper, because sandpaper is a tool, obviously. But with this, I want it to be nice and crisp to give that shadow line, that really wide belly in through there, so that real wide concave, and then a nice flowing sweep to the bottom of the floor of the bowl. Flipping it around, and yet again, I've got that sort of, it goes wide, and then it comes back into a little tuck underneath there. And what I like about this bowl is it just feels really nice in your hands. Your thumbs latch over it really nicely. Your hands around the back feel very nice. It feels like it belongs in my hands, and that's what I like about that little concave just before the foot, and a wider sort of belly in the outer portion of the bowl at the beginning, and then sweeping it, cutting it through to the bottom of the bowl. Now this base here, hopefully this camera up here can pick this up. It's got two little splits along here. Unfortunately, I can't sell this bowl due to that, but what I really like about this bowl is that it's got this a double tenon or a crown, or a two-step, like your two-step cornice in a house. It's got a two-step sort of foot, and it gives it a lot of character, in my opinion, and it's a point of difference. And I know you would be the same as me. Whenever you go to an arts and crafts fair and there's a wood turner there and they don't know you're a wood turner, and you go up to their products, you look at it, but the first thing you do is flip it over and have a look at the bottom. I'm guilty of it, and I know you are too. So when I look at the bottom, I like to see the effort they've put in to the bowl, because it's easy to just finish it up and get it off the lathe and on to the next one. But if they've put a little bit of difference into their bases, to me that's 10 points. It makes the piece. So this sort of double tenon, or I like to call it a crown, on the bottom of the bowl, to me that gives it a little point of difference to this bowl. And it's simply, all it is, I'll go on the side and hopefully that camera can pick it up there. I've come down a little, I've got a little mate outside, a little convex there, sorry, a little concave, and then up to that first piece, and then another little concave up to that second little tenon there, or the top of the crown, and then a concave across the bottom of the floor. So it sits flat on the table. But what I want to talk about when it sits flat on the table, whenever I have turned these pieces and done that little tuck, bring the bowl out and wide, and then it comes around, and then I tuck the timber up, and then it goes to the foot. To me, when I look at a bowl sitting on a table and I've done that, it looks like the bowl is elevated and floating on the table. So I really like that in the feet when I do that little concave little section down the bottom here, the bottom portion of the bowl running towards the foot. To me, it just makes it look like it's floating on the table, and very appealing in my opinion. So one thing that I wanted to talk about is the golden ruler, the golden ratio ruler. It really helps when you're coming up with a different shape or a different design, turning between centers, and you want to know where to tuck in if you're making a vase, or you want to know where to start bringing the top of the hollow form around. This really helps. And if you hold it up against your face, because everything is meant to be in proportion. So this lines up with my chin. The middle section should line up with my eye. I think it's a bit, it's seen better days. And the top should line up with my head. Similarly, if I hold it against that portion into the crook of my arm, that will meet my wrist, and that'll meet the end of my fingers. So if you wanted to measure the, you want to start thinking of how to do your tenons, and you don't want to pull out a calculator and a ruler and all that, if you're that pressed for time, you can simply measure the diameter of your piece, and now that should be the foot of your bowl. Bring it around, and it's just a little bit smaller, so I was a little bit off that day maybe. But yeah, it's just a good little project and a good piece to have in your workshop, and it's pretty inexpensive really. Now, so I've spoken about those two bowls there. Now I want to talk about what I like to call a sort of traditional shape. Traditional shape is it really doesn't have that much flair to it. It's relying, in my opinion, a lot on the grain, and it doesn't need a lot of busyness. It doesn't need the wide, broad rim, undercut rim there. You know, it doesn't need a Roman ogee on the back. It just needs to serve its purpose. And this is just a big, hearty family salad bowl, popcorn bowl, or to put some chips in or something like that. So you whack it in the middle of the table and everyone digs into it. The style and the shape, the rim is slightly, it's slightly rolled, ever so slightly, but in fact it's fairly flat. But in my bowl, it's a little bit rolled. It doesn't have a big undercut rim. It's ever so slight to create that belly shape. You can see that it swings in and then down to the floor. It's a nice sort of feeling running your hand up and down the bowl because it feels continuous. Same with the back. The back feels very continuous, a nice continuous flow all the way around in the back of the bowl, leading to the foot of the bowl. It's nothing over dramatic. It's quite simple, and to me, it's just a nice, elegant bowl. What makes it feel special as well is the weight. I've removed a lot of the timber out. It's quite, as you can see, chunky up around the rim to give that nice extra support, but then it tapers down and thins out towards the base to about 8mm normally on these larger bowls that I make. On the back, the tenon. So I've got this broader, it's a little bit broader than my sort of standard feet. Sorry, I keep calling it a tenon. Got tenon on the brain. It's a little bit broader just because I wanted to give it a little bit more stability on the bowl. Some people might say, oh, it's too small. Some people might say it's not. I would prefer a smaller foot over a larger foot because I believe a smaller foot, not under 1/3, preferably, because it does look a little bit unstable in my opinion. But nonetheless, this is quite a substantial little foot on this bowl. Quite a substantial little foot. Oh, the foot on this bowl is nice and broad. I've brought it in and then left that little line there and then swung it down to like a little button. And that enabled me to brand the bowl and then write the species and the date underneath. But I like the shape of the traditional bowl. I'm not trying to say I don't like it. I sometimes just prefer a traditional shaped bowl because not everyone's going to like all the pizzazz that you put in your bowl. Some people just like something plain and let the timber speak for itself. Let it shine and do its thing. Let Mother Nature have her say in a sense. these three designs have sort of been my go-to. I do like turning closed form shapes. I haven't turned a closed form shape in quite some time because in production it's a little bit easier to just make just sort of standard sort of shaped bowls when you're coring. You actually lose quite a fair bit of material when you make a closed form bowl and try to get cores out of it. These three designs, the rolled rim, the broad rim flat, and a traditional shape are sort of my go-to designs. And like I said before, when you start exploring and doing different things, it'll come to you. It'll evolve. And watch plenty online here. There's lots of wonderful wood turners on YouTube and ceramics and things like that, potters, and go for a walk around the department store and go into that section where there's different bowls and plates and things, and look at those as well, and go to high-end shops too, because there's sometimes ceramics that have made it big in the big time that put their pieces in there too. So I really enjoy this craft, and I really enjoy sharing what I love, and thank you for being on that journey with me. I really appreciate your time in watching the video, and I'll talk to you all soon, because upcoming in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start making some more turning videos, because I've been requested to produce more stock for a store in town. So stand by for those videos too. So thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you all directly. Cheers. Bye.